variables are entities which help us store information, and then we can use the variables, call them again to retrieve the information which was already contained in them. So a few basic idea about what a variable is. So a variable with a fixed name. So for example, you have provided the name of a variable. So it can store information of nature like it can take numeric values, it can take text values, it can take Boolean values as well. So we'll explain in detail what are these data types, and then we'll cover them in detail later. One important thing about the variable is, as the name suggests, with a fixed name of the variable, we can change the nature of information which is stored in that variable. So, for example, a variable which was previously containing numeric values, it can be later assigned a text value, and then the variable name will remain same, but the data type of the variable will change. So that's why the name variable is there. We have three basic fundamental types of data. The first one is numeric one. So the numeric variables are those variables which take values which are numbers. So as in they take integers, they can take real numbers, and so these kind of data types are categorized under numeric data type. And then we have next text. So text variable are used to store strings, and then uh, we can store datetime type objects as well. So and then next we have Boolean. So they have either two modes. So they either contain the value true or false. So it's a very definite judge of statements. So Boolean, it can either be true or false. Now we have understood what are the different types of data which we'll encounter in Python. So those are numeric, text, and Boolean. Now let's go through each of them one by one. So first we'll talk about what different type of numbers we Python supports. So in Python, a lot many different type of numbers are supported. So for example, integers are there, as I mentioned previously. Then you have support for real numbers, which can be categorized under float data type. Then we can define complex numbers as well. So if you remember from your high school mathematics, we can define complex numbers as well in Python. So, but as we move along the course, in numbers, we'll be mostly dealing with integer and floating point numbers. The nature of data of most sources is mostly integer and floating point. So we'll not concern ourselves with complex numbers. So you already know what are integers. So these are just whole numbers, which can be positive and negative, and of course including zero as well. We have support for floating point numbers in Python. So we can represent those numbers with certain decimal precision. For example, 1.742 is a floating point number. So those kind of things we can do here in Python. So essentially we'll be dealing with only integers and floating point numbers. So now let's talk about how do we actually define a variable, how do we assign a value to that particular variable, how do we assign the name. The standard rule when you write a variable name, so what you do, you write the variable name. So for example here, so you write the variable name x, then you do equal to, which means there will be some value which will be contained in that variable. So here for number, so you can simply define x is equal to 3, as you did in your linear equations in one variable or two variables. So again, we define another variable y, which takes value 4. So these are very basic things. So we'll try to do basic mathematical operations to demonstrate simple things which we'll be doing in Python. So for now, this is the basic operations we'll do on x and y. But later on, as we move along the course, when we have huge chunks of data, so we'll find that we'll be running programs and functions which will carry out thousands of operations on thousands of such numbers. So tune in for that. So for a simple addition, you can store the sum in another variable z. So z is equal to x plus y. So if you want to print the variable, you simply run this command print followed by parenthesis, and within the parenthesis you provide the variable name z. So you have z, the value is 7 because x was 3 and y was 4. A very good thing about variable is that it can be assigned different values and data types. As I mentioned it earlier, nature of information stored in a variable can be changed upon the user's will, and it will only store the last value assigned. So for example, here we store in the variable with the same name z. the subtraction of the two numbers x and y. So z is equal to x minus y. So simply you do print z, so it will give you -1. So the value of z has been updated because we again defined a new operation but stored in the same variable name z. Now one important thing, if you want to know what type of what data type a particular variable contains, so you can simply call in the type function. So you do type followed by parenthesis, and then within the parenthesis you provide the variable name. So type z here, so the variable z is -1, which is an integer type. So it makes sense. So again, then we can do multiplication. So in even say with same variable name z, you can store z is equal to x into y. A very handy thing in Python. So if you can simply write the name of the variable, it will print the value of the name. So you don't even need to do the print z. At times, we'll realize what's the importance of the print statement, but you can simply write the name of the variable and print what the value it contains. So next we can do division on two numbers. So z is equal to x by y. So here we can use a particular type of print statement here. You might not be able to follow. So I have written something like percentage f and then followed by percentage z. So z is our variable. So we'll talk about how we can do such kind of such kind of print statements. So we'll deal with that later in the course. We can also find out the type of the variable z. So here we have the output. So output says value of z is 0.75, which is a float number. Okay. So next we move on to a floor division operation. So you can specify floor division between two numbers by specifying two slashes in between them. So what you essentially do, so here we have x is equal to 3 and y is equal to 4. So if you do 3 /4, it will return you 0. So why is that happening? Shouldn't it be 0.7 and 0.75? So this is a floor division, it's not a normal division. So the thing is, the double slash operator is the mathematical equivalent of greatest integer function. The greatest integer function, what it does, it gives out the greatest integer less than or equal to that value. So for example, here z was 0.75. So the greatest integer, which is less than 0.75, is 0. So the answer here we're seeing it's 0. And next we talk about modulo operator. So modulo operator is essentially the operator which gives you the remainder after you have divided two numbers. So here we have y is equal to 4, x is equal to 3. So when you divide 4 by 3, you get the remainder 1, which is what this modulo operator does. So remember, modulo operator is defined by percentage sign here. So y mod x, what we call it, y mod x, so that value is 1. Then we have different other function operations. So we can calculate the powers and exponents of two variables involved. So for example, you can simply write x into y. That means x to the power y. So x is, remember, you x was 3 and y was 4. So 3 to the power 4, here it comes out to be 81. So you don't need even a print statement here. So you can simply write the operation involving two variables and will give you the result. And then of course we have Bodmer's rule here. You can define a variable, some random operation which will give you some result. So you can do in parenthesis x plus y divided by y, then plus y minus x in parenthesis multiplied by x. So in Bodmer's, as you know, it follows the rule precedence order of brackets and then division, multiplication, addition, subtraction, etc. So in that way it will be carried out. So for example, if you check it, it's 3 plus 4 upon 4, and then you do the calculation. So it comes out to be 4.75. So in this way, we can carry out a lot of different arithmetic operations involving two numbers in Python. Let's move ahead. Then we also have the capability of storing very large integer numbers in Python as well. For example, when we're, let's say, dealing with 1 billion or 1 trillion or even 1 quintillion, so we have a very enhanced scientific notation for that. So for example, let's say you want to store a variable with a value 1 lakh or 0.1 million. So you simply do 1 e5. That means 1. So essentially it is 1 into 10 to the power 5. So that means 1 e5 is translated into 1 into 10 to the power 5. So in that way you can store large numbers. So you can specify 6, 7 based on the number of zeros a particular number has. So in that way you can store large integer numbers or large floating point numbers as well. We talked about what kind of basic arithmetic operations we can do in Python using few variables. Now let us move towards certain rules for naming a variable in Python. So variables are very handy objects. They store information. They can store any type of information for a fixed variable name. So that is a very cool thing. So let's look at the what are the rules for naming a variable. So a variable name in Python must start with a letter or an underscore. So for example, underscore product is a very valid name, or even product underscore. So in that way, you should start naming a variable, and you should ensure that whatever the names you are keeping, try to keep it in lower cases only. So that's highly recommended. So the first part of a variable name has to be a letter or an underscore, and then the remaining part of your variable name may consist of letters or numbers and underscores as well. So for example here, spacey1 python machine underscore learning. So these are some kind of valid variable names. And then one important thing is names are case sensitive in Python. So if you write spacey in small caps, and then if you write spacey in big caps, so you will have two different type of variable names. So it's case sensitive. So here also, so case underscore sensitive, uh, capital case underscore sensitive, and then we have C and S starting with blocks, and then all the other letters in small. So in this way we can name variables in Python. Here's one example. When you start the name of a variable with a number, so Python will throw out an error. So the point is names cannot begin with a number in Python. You should never try to misstart a variable name with a number. So always start with an underscore or a letter. So names can also not contain spaces. So instead of spaces, you can use underscores. So for example, in machine space learning, that will not be a valid variable name in Python. So you can rather do machine underscore learning. And then these special characters, these symbols, they are not they cannot be part of a variable name. So you cannot put colon or a comma or a question mark or at the rate hashtag, all these things. So they cannot be part of a variable name. So just to keep it simple, the idea is to name a variable, keep all the letters in lowercase, either start with a underscore or start with a letter and then use underscore if you want to, let's say, get rid of space or anything like that. So that's the basic idea about naming a variable in Python. So hope you are clear about it. So in Python there are some keywords which are reserved. So for example, list. So list is a reserved variable name, str, def. We'll later find out why these names are reserved. So they cannot be part of your variable names as well. So we cannot define a variable name called list, because list has a special meaning in Python. So it's better to avoid those kind of things. So you can do list underscore one, which is a valid variable name, but you should not simply write list. So that means something else to Python interpreter. So now once we are clear about the naming conventions in Python,